Good morning, everybody. This is Steve with Precision Trader Code. Today is Friday, January 10th, 2025. Um, Yesterday, the markets were closed due to the morning of, what's his name? Jimmy Carter. My goodness, I apologize. I forgot the president's name. Jimmy Carter passed away at 100 years old, and the markets did close to honor that. This is something that the CME has been doing, or sorry, I should say the NYSE has been doing since the 1800s. So nothing new, nothing different. After a president dies, the nation is in mourning. So just something that we could keep in the back of our minds. Last time this happened was in 2018 when George H.W. Bush passed away and the New York Stock Exchange closed. Let's take a look at the price action. So we just had non-farm payroll news release, had a pretty big drop, almost 300 points in the Nasdaq, and it's rebounding now just a bit. But kind of where are we? So this sequence that I'm watching at this point, it's coming very close to being broken. So we had this traditional that occurred on August the 5th to the high of August 22nd, traded the 61.8, this golden ratio that had occurred. And that was out on September the 5th. And then ever since then, we've completed one and two profit targets. The third profit target is a little bit a ways away. We've got about until 22,700 to complete. But in the meantime, since we were aggressive, right, like we had higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, all-time high, broke out, and just continued to move up higher. I wanted to see if we could have an extension series begin from this traditional. So just taking that high of August the 22nd to the high of December 16th, so right before the end of the year. We did trade the 38% retracements. You can see here 38% retracement came down into the 50, try to break out of this opposing sequence short, nearly got to the 78.6, which I see this happen quite often on huge reversal levels, especially at market tops, or temporary tops, I should say. There's no official market top. Markets tend to go up over time. So um, what we had here is a near 78.6% retracement fade trade, and have just been bouncing off of this zone, support zone that I've marked off now that I've had for quite some time. So you can see here that it really just began. The first time that it had occurred was December 20th, and just we would wick out of this, and it lines up with the 50% retracement on that extension series up. So, what am I looking for at this point? Well, I want to see if there's going to be any continuation moving up. So, right now, as long as this support continues to hold 21,237 all the way down to 20,000, or you could really call it 21,000, that's kind of the zone that I would be, observing the most to make sure that we do stay above this for a bullish scenario. Otherwise, um, right now you could see that like we really had like a really nice trend channel up, right? So it's like just draw it roughly here. Let's just say it's like that, right? So it's just like we bounce up, down, up, and now we're kind of like breaking below this support trend channel that is pretty important to consider, or pretty important to note considering how bullish we have been. And it's just like the market is tapering off at this point. So, interest rate reduction has already been put in for the year. Analysts are observing and pricing in possibly only two rate reductions for 2025. So the market is starting to cool off just a bit, and we could have a potential pullback that'd be pretty significant, closer to, like almost 20% of a drop. A 20% drop from here, or rather, I should say from the highs. Let me do it like this. So 20% drop would be closer to, yeah, like 18,000s. 18,000s would be a 20% drop for us, or even down into like 17,000 and some change. But in any case, this is starting to look like a topping formation. So if a topping formation is occurring, then I'd want to see if there's any short sequences that are beginning. So you'll see here that I did map out a few short sequences that started to occur. So obviously this big one, this is like a daily one, came up into the 78.6, just missed it, started to turn down. You see here that we had some pretty good support, rallied back up, and then we tried to test that support once more, pierced it a couple of times, and just returned back up. So with that said, you could see that the 61.8 held the second time we came back up to test it. And then if we go on a smaller time frame, I can now see that we've got, an extend, or we've got a traditional short series that began from these highs. You can see here, wick the 61.8, and we completed 1, 2, and 3 profit targets. And when we complete 3 profit targets, you could then draw an aggressive extension and participate at the 38.2% retracement on that short. So you can see here that we've more or less stayed at that 38.2, and we completed profit targets. As soon as we completed profit targets, we ripped right back into that resistance area, and now we've completed the 61.8, the negative 61.8 profit target. So it's starting to get pretty aggressive. What I would like to look for at this point in time is, one, if supports are going to hold, right? So if this is the candle that came out for non-farm payroll. If this candle continues to bid off of this level and just rotate back up, I might be interested in taking a long if we can cross back above 21,237s. Otherwise, it's very possible that we could just go same anchor to the new low. And if we don't have any meaningful traction above 21,237s, then I think we'll just come back up, and whatever we had going on here as support will become resistance. And so I'd like to take a short there at 21,275s. Otherwise, we're just coming back to the middle of the range that occurred on Wednesday. Um, but yeah, that's all that I've got for the NASDAQ. Uh, Really quickly, I did want to take a look at oil. So again, I had mentioned that oil had more or less like a little bit of a uh, resistance zone and then support zone, and we finally have broken out of it. And we're breaking up to the high side, and we're coming up against previous days, months, weeks, um, resistance. And we've got a halfway back that is lining up right where we're at right now, but it seems like we are breaking up higher. So what I would like to see is a potential long um, down into like 76.03 for me personally today. Oil is breaking out. Oil looks like would be the easier long plays today. Otherwise, NQ and ES are kind of difficult to assess at this point. But yeah, that's all that I've got, guys. Take care, trade safe, and I will see you in the room.